Oh my god, their cat. Oh my god, I don't know how deep are we gonna go into that fiasco, because it's
I guess
really heavy.
Just real brief. I'm just gonna put what Rogue said out there. She just said, "Why is he still allowed near animals?"
Yeah, I don't understand why. Like, Ryland, what are you doing? How did you let this happen?
Tea is hot, and so are you. So grab a seat and let's review.
Hi, Carina.
Hi, Zax.
Well, I started in a positive enough tone.
It's
mean to everybody.
If you think that this is going to be a fun, lighthearted podcast today, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, a while back, we did like a nice, well, not nice, but we got together. We talked about how we felt personally victimized by Shane Dawson.
Yeah.
And,
then some other stuff happened.
Yeah, I mean, I guess first things first, I will say that I was wrong at the end of that video. I said, oh god, Shane's gonna make a comeback documentary and pull a Manny MUA on this. No, he's just gonna sneak back in.
He's just gonna weasel his way back online.
So I admit that I was wrong in that last one. I apologize. I guess thought too much of him.
The secret life of Shane Dawson, coming never. Although, you know what?
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it past him, like, once he's, like, feels confident enough to come back online, that he's gonna do that. But who knows? Who knows? It's only been 3 or 4 months. That would be
real bold.
That'd be really... That'd be a big ol' slap in the face.
Okay, well, I guess we'll talk more about that toward the end again.
Yeah.
First, how, since making the video, has anything changed personally for you, feelings-wise, and all this?
So when everything first started coming out, I did kind of go through this phase of like, oh man, I'm super disappointed that like Shane did this and that we let him get away with this and all of that. And I felt super betrayed because Shane was somebody who I enjoyed. Like, I enjoyed his content, I enjoyed his friends' content, and I felt like when all of this came out that I was losing that. But then all of that went away because now I'm just really angry with Shane. I'm no longer feeling that, like, oh, we let him get away with this because we were all, like, it's that parasocial grooming. We were all kind of under that. So I don't think we, as viewers, should put blame on ourselves because this was very manipulative and very, like, strategic. But I'm angry with Shane because he said, like, oh, I should lose everything for this. And I'm like, yeah, you should. And then at that point, I think a lot of people were like, okay, well, maybe we can move past this. Maybe we can, like, get to some type of better place with Shane and his content, maybe. But for now, I think that it's time to close the book on Shane Dawson. And then he was lying about all of the I should lose everything, because we'll get into that a little bit, but like everything he said was just proven to be super disingenuous and manipulative. And I'm angry about that. And my anger is also directed at the people who have, like, stuck around Shane. And, like, even if they're not at face value, like, enabling or, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, excusing his behavior, by allowing him to still use their platforms, I'm Like, I can't accept that, and I can't let that go. That's, you have seen the harm that this person has caused to others, and you are still, like, you're still giving him a platform when he said that Shane himself said, I should be deplatformed.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, you're not sticking to that. So how real were you being in your apology? How sorry do you really feel?
Yeah, that is pretty... As far as, like, taking time to digest everything and process everything, when it first came out, you know, like I said before, I was a pretty hardcore Shane and Jeffree fan. Thinking back on it more, I won't go so far as to say stan, but I did care about them very, very much.
Yeah.
And I thought, even after we made the video, I thought, oh my god, it's going to be really hard. If they come out with content, it's going to be so hard to, like, not watch and to, like, abstain from them.
Yeah.
But then, what I thought was interesting, you know, now that it came time for us to, with all the new stuff that happened, I really thought about, like, the last couple, like, weeks or months or however long it's been. And I realized it wasn't that hard at all. Actually, it was very, very easy for me not to think about them, worry about them at all. The only time I really heard about them is when they came back into light in the drama channels. And I think that's especially interesting with Jeffree Star, because he is, like, shoehorning his way back into relevancy. And it's like, we're so over it.
Yeah.
We are not interested in whatever you're putting down. And we'll talk more about both of them in a bit. But I just think that is something I would like to point out. Not even so much about their drama, but just so much as, like, how I feel personally. Is that this whole experience really has, I feel... not trying to be, like, extra or anything, but I do feel like it's made me be more thoughtful with what I watch. And, like, it used to be like, you make me laugh once and I'll just sub and leave a like. But, like, there have been actually, like, a few channels since then, like, new channels I wasn't aware of before, where, like, I'll watch them and I'm like, oh, this is funny and I like it. But then, like, things go on and, like, either I see the kind of audience they're pandering to, or just, like, some offhand jokes that are, like, just honestly just a little too edgy for my liking.
A little, like, they don't taste good, they don't sit well,
and it's like, now I've learned, like, well, I guess it's good that I learned that, like, I'm not in middle school anymore, but, like, it is good that it's like, okay, I don't have to, like, sit through the stuff I don't like just to get through the stuff I'll maybe like. So, that's, like, one thing I feel good about.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna miss, like, the facade of Shane. Like, at the time that all of this all started coming out, I had stopped watching Shane as much as I previously did, because he was doing all of those, like, really unnecessarily long documentaries on people who I didn't care about. So I was like, I'm, like, again, I'm losing interest in your content. So I think maybe if, like, he was still doing content that I was interested in, maybe, like, it would have been more difficult. But because I was already starting to check out, I was like, I don't need this anymore.
It definitely did. So, okay. So I guess we could sort of, like, move into, like, the more recent stuff. Well, we talk about, like, what Shane's doing right now. I would like to bring up, because, you know, I talked to Bob about all the drama that I go over in these videos. And he just wanted me to bring up that he thinks that Shane might just be a colossal moron. Not that excuses any of his actions, but it explains a lot of the things he does. So while we go through that, just keep in the back of your mind. Now, I do think there's something in between being an idiot and like, playing 5D chess. But I think my thing is, I think Shane's in the middle, where he's definitely living out this, like, Regina George-esque fantasy of, like, just going for the path. I think he knew exactly what he was doing when he did Bobby Burns dirty. Like, there's no way he couldn't. Like, I just don't, like, even with the new, like, Dr. Mike scandal, where it's like, I really learned, like, what an influence I had on my platform. I didn't realize that before. And it's like, okay, maybe you weren't thinking about it at the time, I guess.
Oh man, just
but, like,
you just reminded me of the Dr. Mike stuff. You reminded me of that clown, my god.
But, like, so even if Shane wasn't, like, but, you know, even that's still a very different situation. Like, Dr. Mike just did a thing, and then people reacted. But, like, Shane made a whole series with Bobby Burns, casting him in, like, a villainous role
Well,
as his hater.
Well, Dr. Mike is also, like, an entire doctor who, like, practices medicine, who went out and partied during a pandemic. So
Yeah,
I'm like,
no,
I think you're both equally brain dead at this point.
Yeah, no, what's so funny too is, well, the first thing I saw before even the picture, I saw the apology video, which does not include the picture.
Yeah.
And he was like, it's just like a little, like, we were under the limit, we could be on a boat, and I was like, okay, well, I already see a lot of things. Like, I was thinking, okay, this is just a bad apology video, but maybe, like, you're still good, because, like, Dr. Mike, you're, like, a nice whatever. Then I saw the picture, and it is literally him.
Like, him on
like,
a party boat with a bunch of Instagram baddies. And I'm like...
And I was like...
What are you
now,
all doing?
granted, it looked like a fun position to be in.
But not during Miss Rona time.
Not during these trying times, Dr. Mike.
How are you
But
a doctor?
I'm just saying... I see the appeal of that boat. Is all I'm saying.
Listen, just think of how good the boat is gonna be after Miss Rona decides to leave.
Once we can all breathe.
Yeah, honestly.
Like, okay.
So that's our hot take on the Dr. Mike situation.
Yeah. You listen to the jingle. We got some tea.
Yeah. After whatever the cold open will be.
Yeah, so Shane knew he was doing Bobby Burns dirty, and he definitely chooses the company he keeps, because there's a reason that Drew Monson and Garrett Watts left them. Now, I know, like, they both feel, like, uncomfortable being, like, talked about and stuff, so, like, I'm not really going to talk about them that much, just, I love them both so much. And I think...
Now I'm a baby slaps.
Oh my... Yes. We just listened to that earlier today, and, like,
it's so fun. Listen, if anybody here is still like, oh, I miss Shane, you don't miss Shane, you miss the positive energy his friends bring to the table. So go check out Garrett. He still uploads pretty frequently. I don't know what Drew's up to, but I hope whatever he's doing, he feels good and happy.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's talk about Shane Dawson. He thinks it's a good idea while people are still... So, right after the apology, he released merch. And everyone was like, Shane, this is not the play.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, this was already slated to go, and, like, you know, contracts and all that. And I was like, yeah, like, okay, like, whatever. I mean, that's... I don't know. That sounds like something that could have been whatever. And I know Jeffree doesn't care about that. He'll let the merch out. So, like, that
think,
all
like,
sounded fine.
Yeah, I think in the last video that we did, we talked about it, like, very briefly. Like, oh, he released merch. Like, what's that mean? And we did say something about, like, oh, if it was already, like, greenlit to go before all of this happened, that's one thing. But now I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, so you're like, I should lose everything. Then, if you should lose everything, how about 100% of the profits that come from the merch sales? Say it's your last merch sale because you won't be doing this again, because you are trying to be held accountable. Take that money,
or all
100%,
all the proceeds go to, like, BLM or even like it doesn't, like, even though, like, I don't think,
like, that would be, like, pretty performative, but, like,
I guess the thing is, though, I don't really fault it if it's being performative, if it's still going to a good place.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, I don't know. I think I think people are kind of split on that, but like at the same time, like if you have money and you only do good things to be performative, like I'd still rather the good things happen.
Yeah. I actually had a really like in-depth conversation with my sister about this the other day, because we were talking, I'll try and make this quick. We were talking about Jeff Bezos and how he has enough money to solve every like justice issue and environmental issue and like whatever on Earth. This man has $200 billion. That is an incomprehensible number. And like, to my knowledge, I don't know what he does with it.
Yeah, I don't know at all. Cause like with that thing that Luce posted in one of the chats we're in with him about like all the wealth of the world and all that. Like that was so wild, and it was just like I get it.
Not a single person on Earth deserves that much wealth. Like, I don't care who you are. A single person doesn't deserve that much wealth.
Yeah, it's okay. That's a whole other thing. Let us know in the comments if you'd like us to talk about stuff like that more, because we'd be happy to.
Yeah.
Or just join our Discord server, and we will be free to text chat with you about that as long as you like.
If you want us, if you want us to dunk on Jeff Bezos more, to bring it up in the group chat.
Yeah, but this is not.
This is a Shane Dawson video.
Yeah, this is a Shane Dawson video. This is not Silver's return, so we're going to try to stay on track at least a little bit.
We said before recording, it's going to be so easy to stay on topic today.
Oh, gosh. We don't even have someone to pretend to be the anchor for us. This is ultimate deep dish form.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Anyway. Okay.
Keep that in.
So... yeah, I will. That was my husband,
Yay!
everyone.
Marriage.
We stand.
Yeah.
Okay. But now Shane has released slime and stuff, and he's like, I've been working on this for a long time.
Like slime, like glue. Like the glue slime,
like. I think like the slime that you like do whatever
that you make you make with glue and borax.
Yeah, I believe so.
Oh,
he's been working on this for such a long time. And like, here's another thing that like in between this, I believe that happened that I was like, ugh, Shane, what are you doing? Like, so one of the things the drama channels reported was that he like during around Christmas time he was like, so I know a lot of he put in his Instagram story a link to his Maybe This Christmas song, which I do remember. Not that well. But he was saying, like, I know some of the jokes won't really land anymore. And, like, or so basically addressing, like, there are still inappropriate things in this video. I don't think, to my recollection, there's any blackface or anything. But honestly, like, who knows?
Who knows?
And then, but, like... the sentiment behind it made me feel happy, and I hope it makes you feel happy too. And it's like,
no.
And I was like,
read the room, Shane.
I was like, this is not welcome to me, but like, okay, I guess. Then, you know, he put a post for his birthday. Like, I didn't think I was gonna post anything, but like, Riley got me this cake and I love him, and so like, I'll do that. And it was like, okay, I guess, like, you're a public figure, but at the same time, these posts, not the Maybe This Christmas, but like the birthday post and like the flashback memory with Jeffree Star, which I'm like, why is this the company you're still keeping?
Yeah.
You guys need to do like,
do you know,
to pull a
you know what the wording and the like, oh, like, I didn't think I would post this, like, it's literally the felt cute might delete later type of.
Yeah, which I'm like, that's kind of why I give that a little bit of a pass, because it's like, yes, you're a social figure, but like, that's basically the same stuff I do on my social media.
But it's like, it's
like,
manipulative, because he wants people to be like, no, Shane, we want you back, I miss you, because he's like, I know I shouldn't post this, with his fingers together, but like, I was just really missing. I'm like, log off. Okay, log off.
Yeah.
Your presence online is
Okay.
not wanted or welcomed anymore because you're bad. Go away.
Yeah, no, you're right. Okay, yeah, no pass for that. He's bad. Okay.
Shane is dumb and bad. Carina 2020.
Yeah, no, that's a good quote. Okay, next,
New
let's
merch.
talk about how Shane's using Ryland and to a very, very lesser degree Morgan a little bit. And Morgan, I think she's great. And like, again, I know that her being mentioned, this is something too that like, I don't know, maybe this is like manipulative on everybody's parts. Because like, if you do get a following, like, should drama, and you say like you don't want to be talked about on drama channels, should people still talk about you? I don't know the answer to that.
Well, I think a good kind of example of if you are somebody who is a partner of someone who was previously a public figure and has now gone offline is Julian, because my heart still hurts when I see like discussions of Jenna, but like whenever, like, we know Jenna is still here and Julian is still posting content, and he has said something, like, I'm loosely paraphrasing, but something about that, like, he would like to get to a point that he can just mention Jenna and it not be a big deal. And he's like, I understand that everybody is still, like, kind of grieving this loss, but it doesn't need to be a big deal. And I'm like, that's fair. That's a very, like, fair assessment. You're empathizing with people who miss her, but you're also saying, like, you know, we need to put a little bit of boundaries in place and we need to make this not a big deal. Because at the end of the day, it's not. She's my partner. I love her. And, like, if I want to talk about her, I should feel comfortable enough to talk about her without making people upset.
So, I don't remember if this came up at the time, but, like, Morgan, like, kind of a little bit after the fact, put out a video where she was just talking about how the Shane in these videos and the Shane engaged to her brother are two different people to her. And I get that. At the same time, it felt, one, people were definitely pressuring her to make some sort of response to it. So she had to. At the same time, it did also sort of feel like testing the waters a bit.
Yeah.
Like, dipping a toe, like, can Shane come back? Like, how do you get, like, Shane, if people, if they get kisses back, you, okay, not yet.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But
no Shane,
and that's,
only
like,
Morgan.
Yeah, and like,
the dog,
that's not a hot take. That's kind of pretty much how everyone took the video. But, like, that's pretty much all I have to say about Morgan. She's kind of just moving on, doing her own thing, and, like, she's great.
Yeah.
I just like her. Ryland did a similar video at the end of it, and he was like, and I think, okay, I'm just gonna say my conspiracy theory now, because, like, we've talked a bit about how you feel, and we'll hear more about that, and, like, I'm definitely more on board with what you're thinking, but I still want to put my conspiracy theory
Yeah,
out
for sure.
there.
Let me put my tinfoil hat on so I get it. I don't have any tinfoil, so I'm gonna use a candy wrapper.
I feel like it is possible that Ryland might just feel trapped. So, most of his subscribers definitely came from Shane. So, people who left Shane probably already left Ryland, or if they were like, oh, actually, after giving you a chance, I like you, I'm still here. But here's the thing, when they first started dating, there was this whole thing, all these hate comments, they made a bunch of videos talking about it, how everyone was like, Ryland, you're so materialistic, you're just using Shane for money and clout. So if he breaks up with him, then it's like, see, the second things get rough, you're out of here. You weren't really in it to win it with Shane.
I think that's different, because it's like, oh, you left when things got rough. I would understand it if the situation was like, Shane is like, oh, I got robbed and all of my money and stuff is gone. And he's like, I'm out of here, see ya. Or Shane was like, I have to leave the internet for my mental health, or like some family stuff happened. If Ryland was like, haha, bye, then I could understand why people would be upset and be like, see, you were just using him for money and clout. But this is Shane left the internet because of his racism.
He was chased off because he deserved it.
He was chased off the internet because he absolutely deserved it. So if Ryland left, I think people would be like...
At the same time, though, like, Shane stans don't agree. Like, Shane stans to this day are like, look, guys, he apologized for 3 seconds.
Like,
so, like...
Part of me feels really upset with Shane stans, but I'm also, like, trying to empathize with them because think of your hero, right? Imagine if it came out, and maybe this has happened before. I know when Lana Del Rey said those really bad things, I was like, I can't in good faith support this anymore. But your music really slaps. Darn, this sucks. So you are in that, like, you're in that grieving process of like, oh, I can't in good faith associate myself with you anymore. But like, when there's so much proof of this person being gross, nasty, and terrible, I don't know how you can look at that and be like, well, this little apology you gave is fine. That's okay.
And here's even the other hot take I'll even put as far as, like, empathizing with people. I think, first of all, there's never going to be an apology that appeases absolutely everybody. So take that with a grain of salt. And, like, with what I'm about to say, if you don't feel like this was enough, that's totally valid for everybody listening.
Yeah.
I think as far as taking accountability for the racism in his videos, now granted, I don't think his actions have really reflected on it, but just apology alone, I don't think it's going to get much better than that. He said, he basically said, like, I put on a full-on minstrel show week after week for years, which is, like, what he did.
Yeah.
So, like, that is actually saying what he did, and he sounded really apologetic.
I haven't watched the video in, like, months, so I completely forget what he said, but did he bring up at any point, like, oh, I didn't know how bad it was?
He did, but then he also said, and, like, this is just me being fully, whatever, he did qualify it with, there was this woman who was trying to educate me about why what I was doing was so harmful, and I instead made jokes about murdering her.
Yeah.
Which is, like, a big yikes. And it's like...
See, here's the thing, too. How does it keep getting worse?
It's not, like, that's not normal. And, like, because, like, I think pretty much, I don't even think people really care about, like, all of the homophobic stuff that went down in his videos, because it's like, he was in the closet, guys. He was just trying to figure out his own identity. And it's like... All
right. But what about other stuff?
Like, you can, like, I don't know. Maybe I'll cut this as this is too edgy, but, like, I feel like you can hate yourself without being harmful to other people. Like, I don't know.
Listen,
that's just
that internalized whatever, that can become lateral violence, which is when you're like, I hate myself, so I'm gonna hate people who are like me. And that, I've heard, like, this is coming from a white lady. I have heard from, like, BIPOC folks saying that, like, I can take somebody on the street calling me a slur, like, whatever, that's just gonna happen. But when it's coming from someone who looks like me, that hurts even more and even worse. So
I think, because in my experience, I haven't, like, I guess a little bit in my experience. I remember just, and I think I've even talked about this before, but just getting teased by black people and white people and everybody for being mixed kind of thing. And, like, in my case, I always remembered feeling, like, worse when it was people of color, because I was like, I thought I could be safe here.
Yeah. It's like,
but it's like, no, you're not safe anywhere.
It's the same issue that we're seeing with Brennan and them talking about what happened with Calvin Garrett, which maybe is another thing we should talk about one day, because yikes.
I think, I would definitely be down, because, like, okay, like, we're getting off track again. Back to this.
Welcome to Deep Dish. We can't stay on topic for more than 30 seconds.
There's just a lot, I feel like just a lot of it's hitting the fan, and, like, the year's almost up, so, like, we will talk about Calvin.
It's just because,
like, Yeah, that's its whole thing. Okay.
Yeah.
So
with Shane,
that
it's
was
just hard to talk about.
Yeah, he's... Okay, so here's the thing. Okay, so first, say your piece about Ryland, and then we'll move on to Jeffree.
Okay.
For a little bit.
So, Ryland, my boy. I feel less torn about Ryland, because, like, I mentioned a little bit at the beginning, I don't know what happens behind the scenes. I don't know their conversations that they have offline. I don't know if Ryland is like, Shane, what you did is disgusting and I can't support that. Maybe he thinks that way, but that has not been what has been reflected in his online behavior. What I have seen from Ryland is he, like, minimizes and makes excuse for Shane's behavior, and I'm like, that's not okay. And again, I don't know how I would react if, like, my partner was exposed to be, like, an awful, awful person. I don't know what I would do. I don't know what anybody would do in that situation. But
yeah,
you need to say something. You need to say, like, I don't even know. It's just really, it's a really gross situation to be in. And for a while, I empathized with Ryland, but because he has, like, just accepted Shane back into the online world, business as usual, I can't look at that and be like, oh, I feel bad for you, Ryland.
Yeah, because, like, that's kind of where I was at, where it's like, okay, like, you guys are in a relationship, and it's like, and also, like, again, all we see of these people is the content that they put out.
Yeah.
So I can't really even fault Ryland for forgiving Shane, because, like, according to him, and, like, Morgan, which this is kind of a red flag and a little scary, but Morgan feels that those videos of Shane and who she knows are two completely different people. So at the if we just take that at face value, that at least shows he's grown a lot. That these are two different people to her. So, and that's who Ryland fell in love with. So I could see them even forgiving these actions or whatever. I guess fine. I'll just, like, take that and move along. But Ryland has a podcast, and, like, now it's like, did he even want a podcast, or was it just like, you make a podcast and we'll just dip a toe back in that way?
Like, I guess you could do this.
Because, like, one thing in our server, Rogue brought up a good point when they were talking about their cat.
Oh my god, their cat. Oh my god, I don't know how deep are we gonna go into that fiasco, because it's, I guess, really heavy.
Just real brief. I'm just gonna put what Rogue said out there. She just said, "Why is he still allowed near animals?"
Yeah, I don't understand why. Like, Ryland, what are you doing? How did you let this happen?
It's also weird too, because if I remember from, like, the montage that D'Angelo posted, I'm pretty sure one of the disrespected animals in that montage was Cheeto, which is a cat he acquired with Ryland.
Yeah.
So,
like, what? I don't get it. If somebody, like, hit my cats, they would be out of my life forever. Like, you are getting blocked on even if, like, you come to my house and my cats don't like you, I'm like, I don't know if I want you back here, because what Mars says goes, because he rules my life.
So
why would you do
but
this,
also, like,
Ryland?
and then, so, yeah, why did you get, like, no new animals ever again? I'm sorry, Ryland, your pets are no longer on the table. Realistically, I think we should just be glad most people didn't ask you to rehome the pets you currently have. Yeah. But don't bring new ones into this life.
Then within a week.
Honestly, maybe they never even had a cat. Maybe they just took pictures of one so that they could have a sob story so that he could come on the podcast, honestly.
Like that's a little tinfoil hattie.
Like, that, it is. Like, I'm just saying, like, the fact that, like, they decided that was important enough that warranted him coming on the podcast Like, I'm sorry
Shane,
that happened to
you already have a bad track record with animals. And so for this to then happen and you to be like, oh my God, I'm so sad. Like, okay, I'm trying to pick my words very carefully because I firsthand know the experience of losing a pet unexpectedly. It, took me out for months. And, still, if I think about it for long enough, I will start crying. So I understand that pain. I think about, my cat who died all the time, every day. So I get that. Yeah. I get that you're hurting, and I get that you feel like you could have done more. I get that. But, Shane, you have shown us time and time and time and time again that you don't know how to treat animals properly. Even if it's a joke, even if you thought it was funny, you do not treat animals the way you did. So the fact that you had an animal and something bad happened to it under your supervision or lack thereof says a lot about you.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, it's not even about even taking that aside, Rylan could have just talked about that alone. He has a co-host, from my understanding. I never watched the podcast. I just have seen clips and stuff. Yeah. He has a co-host. He lost the cat. To my understanding, most people are still pretty cool with him. So he could just say, we and Shane are really going through it. This happened with our cat. Da-da-da-da-da. And then we'd all be like, oh my God, that's so sad. And then Shane's stance would be like, oh my God, Shane, I'm so sorry you lost your cat. And then we'd all be like, good, but stay over there.
Yeah. We don't come online. Sorry, but don't come online.
But so even if we, and I don't think I think, not trying to speak for Ro because she's not here, but I'm pretty sure all the kind of friends kind of take a united front that this loss does not warrant him coming back to the podcast at all. But even if we are going to pretend that that's okay, what is definitely not okay is having Jeffree Star on the podcast. And what makes it worse... And what makes it worse is he's really going to come... Now, mind you, what launched this whole tumbleweed snowball of drama... I don't know what that was, but whatever.
A fun segue.
It was words, I said.
Welcome to Kind of Friends. Word salad is on the menu today.
Yeah. This all started because people were like, hey... Jeffree, Shane, Toddy, I'll include her, I guess.
Yeah,
throw her in this little soup.
Yeah, the drama soup.
Remember, you grown people targeting 19-year-old James Charles?
Remember when you did that?
For no reason. So Jeffree's really gonna come on a podcast and be like, it really was so jarring. It went from everyday we stand queen to KYS every day all the time. And it was really toxic and hateful.
Sorry,
and not trying to play the victim, but
as soon as you say
really hard.
As soon as you say not trying to play the victim, you're playing the victim.
And I was just really sitting there what are you even on about? Because especially it was weird too because it was very strange, especially just because one of the things that was fun that Jeffree did back when I was a fan was he did these ASMR things with hate comments, and he promised, this was before we even really thought he was problematic, he promised to be a sponge for all the hate that we had in our hearts, that he would just take it and not complain. So I don't know what he's on about at all.
That didn't make any Jeffree, sense. Jeffree, listen. You have been accused of some of the worst things you could be accused of, and what you're pressed about is people being angry with you for bullying a 19-year-old. That's what's got your panties in a knot. People are saying that you're a predator, and you're like, I can't believe people said that I was mean to James Charles. Listen, buckaroo, you've got bigger fish to fry. How about you address those assault allegations?
Yeah, so okay. So we're dipping into that. So real quick, I just want to say that Shane and Jeffree, the fact that Shane continues to stand by Jeffree Star, and I don't know what business contracts they have together, but it really doesn't matter because he said he should lose everything, so rip him up. I don't care. The fact, like, I was talking to Bob about this, and I was like, this is literally comparable to when Trump didn't denounce David Duke.
Like, this is the only time you are ever gonna hear me say something somewhat positive about Orange Man. At least he tried to act like he didn't know Epstein. At least he was like, I don't know that man. I don't even like him. Jeffree's just like, yeah, we're besties. We're best friends.
Okay. There are racists. There are people who are actively against racism. There are people who are cool with racists. And then there are the people who are just, like, genuinely unaware. Like, babies. Medically incapable, etc. And I don't know, like, realistically, Shane and Jeffree, well, Shane cannot afford to be anything other than anti-racist right now. Like, Jeffree's taken pictures of people with Confederate flags.
Jeffree has said hard R several times.
Because, like, that's the thing, too. Like, let's just real quick go into that, like, deep dive documentary, that PR thing that Shane did with him first. Where he's like, so for context, I wasn't calling a black person hard R N-word. I was just calling another white woman. But what he said was the worst word I could think of. And, like, I don't know. I'm kind of, like... One thing, like, Cat Black was talking about Blair White, and I think this did come up again in D'Angelo's video about Blair White, where there's a really weird clip of her that I was like, oh my god, what's going on? Where she stops Onision, Onion Man himself,
Stinky
dead
Onion
in his
Man.
tracks, because she's literally like, yeah, I'll just use drop the N-bomb and when I'm playing video games. Excuse me?
What?
What? And she was, and it's weird because people still like, you're good at debating Blair. You really showed him what for.
Like, oh wow, Real gave him the old 1-2.
Because I feel like the takeaway from that is, oh, it's just two bad people talking at each other now.
So it's Onision, one of the worst people online, and Blair White admitting that she uses racial slurs in everyday language. That's fun. That's fun and cool. I'm so glad that Blair White is such a great trans activist. We should all look up to Blair White. For legal reasons, this is a joke.
So now, okay, then, like, before we, like, really, like, talk about Jeffree Star, he's still, I don't think I've seen anything about Tana and Shane, so what
happened with Tana? Because I have completely checked out paying attention to her.
Well, okay, so Tana is problematic in her own right. There was a whole thing where people she used to collaborate with a lot, who are people of color, talked about her and her manager basically discriminated against them because they're people of color. Even the girl, I want to say her name was Vanessa, but I don't really know.
I think it's Vanessa.
Not in that. Yeah, I'm not really in that. Said was the words to say that Jordan tried to paint her as basically just an angry black girl. Which is like
gross.
Yay. So, and then she gave an apology that was just as awful as everybody else's. Honestly, maybe worse, because she really looked like she could not be bothered. And, like, honestly, if you're Tana Mojo, that makes sense.
Like,
because
Tana,
this is, like,
can you
Tuesday for you.
Tana, can you not be stoned out of your mind for 2 seconds and make an actual genuine apology? I remember, this is kind of off topic, but not really. I remember, like, when Tana's N-word fiasco. I love how, like, so far everybody we've talked about has had the same N-word fiasco, but when she was, like, going through that whole thing and, like, going through her defense of, like, oh, I just thought it meant homie or friend, I remember in one of her Snapchat videos, she was like, you guys know that I'm not racist. I have Black Lives Matter as my Twitter bio. I'm like, all right. I'm glad that we're using a human rights movement as just like a sticker. That's good. I love that. I love that for us.
And I mean, the thing is too, though, like, you know, I think, you know, just going in our server, like, just looking at the names of who's online, who's offline, there are lots of people in there, and I'm like, you know what, I've never thought about them. Maybe they're racist. Yeah. So
I sure hope you're not. To all our friends in the server, I really hope you're not racist.
And like, but I mean, that's like not a normal thing that crosses people's mind. Mm-hmm. It's not like you meet a person and it's like, hello, how are you? I'm not racist. That's not
something you should have to worry about.
Yeah. So like the fact that I feel like you should be bothered that you've created an environment where people are like, I think you're a racist.
No, I'm not. Link in bio. Go see what I have. Like, that doesn't matter. Tana, it doesn't matter how many rallies you go to or how many, like, reposts you make on Instagram. If you have shown us that you do not respect black folks, then all of your activism is performative and fake, and we don't want it.
Yeah. And like, but I think she's last I heard, I think she's sticking to mostly with OnlyFans anyway, so like, go off, Tana.
Like go off.
Fine.
All right.
Stay on track.
Yeah.
Okay, so so on a lighter note, before we go into like some of the big tea with Jeffree, Trisha has become Shane's main crusader, which like that doesn't really help you. Oh. That doesn't really help anyone. And I think for the most part, when Trisha's in your corner, most people are like, okay, we're going to the other side of the room now.
Trisha is an interesting person, and I really don't know how to feel about her, because a lot of the stuff that she's done, I'm like, Trisha, what were you thinking? But I also just see some of the stuff she does, and I feel bad for laughing and enjoying it. But I'm like, Trisha, stop.
We really different, like, we have, like, this talk and drama dish where I'm like, I really, like, on one hand, it's like, she's making a career out of this, so she wants people to engage with her content, however. But it's like, now it seems like it's getting, like, it's taking a toll on her, so it's like, I feel bad about that, but, like, at the same time, like, I don't know. I don't know where that is. All I'm saying is, she literally makes troll videos as a career, so whatever she's going on with, I don't really think we could be like,
secure the bag, I guess, but like, can you tone it down a bit, please?
So it's like, it's not really my job to distinguish what's genuine or false with her. All I know is how I feel about Shane, and her saying, no, trust me guys, he's cool, isn't really swaying me in any direction.
Yeah, I don't know, Trisha.
Also, she literally, also just one, and this just because this is funny, and before we get serious again, I thought this was very funny. So Trisha decided it was her job to police Charlie D'Amelio in that nonsense TikTok drama. So Charlie D'Amelio literally said to James Charles, you know, I'm at 95 million, and like, that's really cool. I think it'd be so fun if I could get to 100 million, because that's a cool even number, which, like, I totally get it. I stayed at like 100 posts on my old Instagram account for a very long time, because having a nice clean number is very fun to have. It just, I don't know why some people like that. It just looks nice, and you just do that.
Yeah. 95 is still a nice clean number, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, and then but it was also cute because then James Charles was like, "Oh, so 95 just isn't enough for you,"
Yeah.
and they're being sassy and cute. Like that's no reason to try to cancel anybody. But then people were like, we're just numbers to her," and it's like honestly, at least she understands. It's
we're gonna get on track in a second.
We're just let me have this.
Let us have this.
So then Trisha Paytas is
Oh my God, stay on track.
We're trying.
Okay, so then Trisha Paytas says that James is being inappropriate with Charlie, and then James was like, "Okay, look, this is not happening again.
Yeah.
Know your place, Trisha.
Mm-hmm.
You need to stick with your own problematic people." And everyone naturally assumes she means Shane and Jeffree.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jeffree comes out of the woodwork to say people who are trying to talk about me, and it's literally. It's literally like that meme.
Yeah.
No one, ...
Yeah.
Jeffree Star. You need to keep my name out of your mouth.
Like,
And I was
Jeffree, have you not learned from last time that when you bully James Charles, you look like a meanie. You look like a mean person.
He literally went nuts for no reason.
Yeah. Also, super quick before we move on again.
No.
This will take 20 seconds, probably less. I did not like the video that Charlie and the other one posted. I don't know them, but I did not like that video. I did it. It wasn't because I'm like, oh, she's so spoiled. I wish I had 100 whatever. That wasn't my problem. My problem was the absolute lack of table manners and just being super rude to their personal chef. No, who has a personal chef?
Which, yeah, I guess, it did come out later that they were, friends, and, he was working with the producers on purpose to antagonize the girls to get them to do that stuff. And, that's fine, whatever. But, it just also was kind of boring to me, regardless. Mm-hmm. So I didn't care.
Yeah.
I'm
just
that's not what I go to TikTok
I'm just have nice table manners, okay? He worked hard to make your food. Be nice to him. At least pretend that you like it. Yummy, thank you.
There was literally this video on TikTok of this little girl eating this food, and the mom was like, "So you like it?" And she's like, "It's amazing."
It's an avocado.
And she's like, "Oh," and then she's like, "Oh, well, why aren't you eating it?" And she's like, "It's just too good. I don't want to finish it," or something like that. And I was like, "Oh, you sweet little."
You were raised right.
Yeah. So polite.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's talk about the essay allegations against Jeffree Star.
Yay! Welcome to Kind of Friends.
So, for those of you who don't know, this is some people are trying to piece together what's going on. Basically, the main theory is a check came out to Gage Arthur from Jeffree Star's company for $45,000, and they're pretty sure it was to silence him and make him retract his story that Jeffree not only which this is so okay. At the time, apparently, Mr. Arthur was allegedly a homeless teen, and Jeffree was in his 20s, which is a big oof. Mm-hmm. Power and class dynamic going on there. Don't like that. But apparently also in the, again, now retracted, all alleged, whatever you gotta say to be safe stuff, he used a taser on this kid. Ooh, which is what? Okay, so give it to Jeffree. Always got to keep it fresh, I guess, because these are not really new kinds of allegations. I feel like we hear this about everyone's heroes all the time, doing awful things like this to people who, in one way or whatever, are fans or loyal to them and taking advantage of that. Mm-hmm. But a taser, why? What are you doing?
I don't get it.
So, that's just a big old yikes from everyone. Mm-hmm. And the fact that while this is going on, he goes on Ryland's podcast and it's like, I don't really care why people are being mean to you in the comments. Why don't you clarify the fact that people think you paid off somebody who you took advantage of or didn't take advantage of? I don't know. You haven't said anything about it. Like, at this point, I feel like it's like we looked at his and Shane's Social Blade, and Jeffree's views are kind of going up and down, losing subs all the time.
I wonder why.
Who knows? But, and like, with the Killer merch, he co-owns that one, I believe. I think with Jeffree Star Cosmetics, it's supposed to be all him, but I'm sure he still has backers or whatever. Mm-hmm. At this point, like, I don't know. Because, like, yes, it's good PR, but people, like, really just haven't been vibing with the last couple palettes.
Yeah. Is it even good PR? Because it's, like, they're like, oh, like, any press is good press. Like, no, it isn't. No, it's not. This is, like, assault allegations. This is the worst PR you could get.
Yeah, like, good bad PR is, like, Jeffree Star spilled wine on Kim K's dress.
Oh my god, I can't believe I did that. And then he comes out with a lipstick that's like Merlot, and everyone's
Kim K's dress.
Yeah, and you're like, oh my god, so funny. Like, that's okay. That's good bad PR. This is Jeffree Star assaulted somebody, probably. I don't think I want to buy your products anymore.
Like, I'm tugging my collar so hard, my clothes are off.
Yeah, like when Kat Von D said, "I'm not gonna vaccinate my kid," everyone was like, "Bye, bye, bye." Also, there was some stuff about her husband being an actual neo-Nazi, but that's neither here nor there. But people were like, "We're done with you. Goodbye, canceled. Bye, bye."
Which, that's something interesting, too. Like, why is it that I feel people were really... It was really easy for people to pull a plug on Kat Von D, but, like, people are really, like, holding on to Jeffree for dear life. I do not understand.
Like, I feel like there's definitely some, like, misogyny there. That's, like, I'm, like, listen... I almost said a bad word, sorry. But, like, Kat Von D, hate her, but... Jeffree's doing some stuff that's a lot worse than her. Why are we still, like, standing?
I mean, I guess it is something like the whole, like, Chris Brown effect. Like, people who are just, like, unapologetically bad are just easier to stand than people who pretend like they're trying to be good, kind of thing.
I guess. But, like, what's that say about you, the fan?
I really, like... So, okay. Let's just sort of, like, the last talking point we have. So my stance has changed. Mm-hmm. I think I used to be like, okay, well, like, they can just rebrand, focus on showing people that they've improved. But, like, I'd be fine if they just stopped. Liquidate your assets or whatever. Mm-hmm. Go live in a hut and watch slime videos till the cows come home. I don't know. Let Ryland and Morgan continue their videos. Ryland can be the new breadwinner. Mm-hmm. You know,
or I like think, you should have enough money now to like be comfortable for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I don't know.
You're a millionaire.
Like, it's also weird too. Like, especially just like one, like just so Jeffree stands have not really been buying the last few palettes because like a lot of them, like I believe, are basically babies, and the last one was inappropriately titled "Fun Adult Party Time" palettes, with also a little bit of what people are taking as black fetishization, which with craving some chocolate or whatever.
Yeah.
He put as one of the things, which is like
you're not helping yourself at all.
That's not good. The other thing too, like, this is not for us. This is not my place to say. But a lot of people definitely took him dating Andre Marhold as PR to just look less racist.
Yeah.
Which is not our place to say, because, like, you know, I don't know how they met, how they came to form feelings. It's not my place. But, like, it's really not our fault that it was perceived that way. Because, like, just the optics of it, like, it's just not a good look.
Yeah.
It's just, that's just the facts. So even if it was, like, although it wasn't meant to be, because then there was that whole scandal of how he, like, had a baby mama and robbed you or whatever was going on there. Which people are also speculating was also a stunt to keep people off the Gage Arthur story that was coming around the same time.
Yeah.
Because that is what more drama channels were talking about. But, like, there's that. Then, and, like, that apology video really just wasn't it for Jeffree. Or, like,
the thing that
I don't think...
Really quick, the thing that D'Angelo Wallace said, like, why does Jeffree Star have to be voguing in every one of his apology videos?
Yeah. As I was saying that, I pictured the montage in my head. It was just like, oh, that couch is so awful.
It's such a weird place to put a couch in a house. Like, welcome to my home. Couch. Get ready to clown around with Luna and Molly.
But, like, really, like, bringing in the names of the actual tragic victims of police violence and blaming the pandemic and, like, whatever else. Like, look,
this is all you.
And, like, this is basically what, like, literally every drama channel said, which I was like, thank you, because that makes, like, you're allowed to be mad at more than one thing at a time. Like, just because it's like, okay, like, it's not like global warming stopped the Bill Cosby trials. Like, I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah.
But, like, but also just, like, you know, you said at the beginning, I should lose everything for this is proven to be a lie, and that's definitely the case, because, like, I don't know. One thing I mentioned, and, like, everyone's mentioned that, like, he does these PR documentaries for privileged, bad people, honestly, for lack of a better description.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's just, and then when he comes back, it's to talk about his cat. Honestly, if he had come back and, like, talked about, he needs to say, like, straight out, like, what he's reflecting on. Like, I sexualized children.
And animals.
It's not okay that I did those things. It's unforgivable that I did those things. But, you know, I've been doing this, and, like, I'm trying to apologize to the families, because, like, he probably does have a way to get in contact with all the people he cast in videos and stuff. Reach out to the families, ask if there's anything he can do. Like, he doesn't really need to walk us through them. Like, he doesn't need to pull a Gabby hand and be like, well, they said it's fine, so we're good. We don't need to know all that. Just know that you're trying to. That's fine. To reach out to those people and apologize to them. I don't know.
Just, like, give us something that shows,
like,
that you're trying.
When the merch came out, these proceeds are going to animals and children. I don't
like
know. I was about to say PETA, but I was like, no, that's fine.
No, we don't like
do that.
Kind of Friends does not support PETA.
So there's all that stuff. So my final thoughts are, this is all frustrating nonsense, and I think they need to either really, really work on themselves or just go away.
Yeah.
Because I'm over them.
Like, I'm at this point, I could go the rest of my life without hearing Shane Dawson, Ryland, I forget his last name, and Jeffree Star. I feel like I could go the rest of my life not hearing their names, and I would be fine. I'd be fine. And if I have to hear their names, it better be because they're actually being held accountable for what has gone on. Be it, like, themselves taking accountability and actually sticking to it, or, like, some higher power, not God, but, like, somebody with more, like, just something to happen, you know?
Yeah.
Because
All
just
right.
what we've seen is the opposite, and that is probably an even bigger disappointment than what we originally saw, which was all this really awful stuff. Because we got over that shock of, like, oh my god, this happened, and then to be told to our faces, I will do better, I will change my ways, I will think about what I did. And then for it to just be a lie, I think that's one of it. That's an even bigger betrayal.
Yeah. Well, that wraps this up.
Yay. Is there anything nice we can end off on?
You guys should watch our deep dishes on Lindsay Lohan, because
Watch Lindsay Lohan
That's-
once. It was fun.
yeah, that was fun. Less fun, but still more fun than this. Silver's Return. That's trash.
If you need a good laugh, go watch that.
Yeah.
The Billie Eilish video is pretty fun.
Oh yeah, and like, I don't know when, but they're updating.
Oh,
so
no.
this is good. Something that's not self promo. You should listen to Now I'm a Baby, because that's just a bop.
Yeah, it's good.
I recommend it.
It's good. And send some good vibes to Drew.
Yeah, always do that. And yeah, okay. So on that note, feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
Remember to comment, like, and subscribe, because we all need friends. Okay, bye.
Bye.